Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the mindfulness workshop by our yoga master Manoj Joshi ji. Manoj Joshi ji, thank you. We have been doing this for the last 4 or 5 weeks. It's really helpful, and it's wonderful things. So we are very happy that you're part of our Rotary Club and helping our club and our community, sir Manoj ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you. So can everybody see the slides?
Sure.
Okay, good. So mindfulness in action, your health is in your hands. Welcome to the week 5th one. So we have already covered the 4 steps. So there are 4 weeks we have already talked about. So we'll do a small recap as you go along. So let's start with a prayer. So let's take a couple of moments to keep our eyes closed and take 5 mindful breaths. We talked about setting up a goal in the first session. So if you have already a goal which revolves around your total health, a true happiness, and something that I would like to manifest, maybe someone for somebody else you want to dedicate this moment, this workshop. So please bring that into your awareness and repeat that 3 times in your mind, just like our sentences, our words have the power. Say it 3 times, just like you're declaring to the world. And let's bring a prayerful moment in chanting this yogi prayer. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunatyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Om Shanti Shanti. Good. Let me mute everybody right now. So
Manoj ji, I did it, sir. Please unmute yourself.
thank you. Yeah, let's take care of that. Okay, great. So today we are going to talk about the cleansing technique, because after the eating, what comes up is the cleansing technique, right? So we have already talked about the food, how the food plays a major role. We talked about like now we are what we eat. So once we have eat something, when we've eaten something like the food, the air that we eat, the thoughts we eat, there are so many different things that goes inside. So not that everything that we take inside is belonging to us, like it or belongs to us, it gets assimilated. So some things we have to also learn how to cleanse it from time to time. So today we'll focus on how we can unclutter our body, mind, and spirit. So we talked about the 8 limbs of yoga. I'm sure like you all know all 8s. I don't have to remind you, right? So just for the sake of reminding, I'm talking about yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. So these are the 4 aspects which are called bahirang yoga. That means if we take care of these 4 things, our external life, the external identity, the personality that we have, the body, mind, our personality, our character, our environment, all these things are powerfully will be configured. So it's called bahirang yoga. And after that, we start getting deep inside. It's called antarang yoga. So those are all 4 elements again. So it's called pratyahara, which is the technique of withdrawing the senses from the objective world to go inside. Then comes the dharana, which is the focus of the mind. Dhyana is a contemplation or deep meditation. And then samadhi, final accomplishment, going to the trance state, going to that state of total awareness. That's called samadhi. So let's do an activity. As usual, we do a chart room activity. So why do people say that cleanliness is godliness? So let's put our thoughts together. That will set the tone of this talk. So just take a moment, please, to put your thoughts. Suppose you want to give a 30 seconds talk about cleanliness and godliness. What will be your content? So think it like that. Maybe a couple of sentences or a couple of keywords you can write to explain this concept of cleanliness is godliness. Just a couple of keywords, whatever that comes to your mind. What do we have to clean? Why do you have to clean? How do you have to clean? And what happens if we don't clean? And how come cleanliness is godliness? Cleanliness keeps away all the dirt, seen and unseen away. Less clutter leads to better movement. Right, body, mind, strength. And we always have that impression that God is the embodiment of all the good qualities. Right? So we are talking about physical terms, the body, the mind, the spirit. That's good. And since we all have the idea or the notion of the God is a superpower, so that is connected to that cleanliness. And particularly cleanliness is very important in the COVID-19 pandemic stage right now. Everybody talks about clean hands. You remember in the first beginning, like how many videos were shared around how to how to wash our hands, and even now also how much of sanitizer we use. That's good. I think I got the idea. Like people are talking about not just a clean body, but even beyond that. Good. Purity of the soul. That's very good. So cleaning up the clutter is very important because the beautiful things have no clutter. Good. Discipline, organization. That's very good. So thank you, friends. Emphasis, discipline. Okay, good. So let's talk about this. So cleanliness is godliness. We all believe that cleanliness is a responsibility that we all have. We must be clean because that is one of the yamas that we have talked about. How to be a good citizen of the world. The Socha or the Suchi came at the last when he talked about the 10 yamas that says Patanjali doctrine. So Socha is if we don't become clean, it's not just not good for us, but it's also not good for others. We can spread the germs and viruses. So we have already talked about the Pancha Kosha, the Annamaya Kosha, the physical outer body that we all have, and everything has got the physical outer layers, Annamaya Kosha, the body which is created out of the food that you consume. There is an energetic body, the Pranamaya Kosha. There is a mind body which is created with the thoughts that we all have. Vijnanamaya Kosha is the intelligent shape that helps us to take decisions, discriminate between the right and wrong. That is Viveka or the Buddhi, intelligence. And finally, we have the Anandamaya Kosha. So all the different limbs or the tools of yoga can be attributed to clean different aspects of this Panchakosha. For example, so when you have about the asana, the physical postures, when you stretch, we give some examples of like how you open up all the joints, how you do some acupressure by tapping. So it opens up the physical pathways. So our veins and arteries and all these conduits through which the blood moves, the impure blood comes from the different parts of the body to the heart, and then heart pumps in the pure blood to the arteries. So those are all become very functional when we learn how to stretch our body. There are about 8400 thousands of postures, and those combinations are improving day by day, like how we make these different postures. So those are very important aspect of cleaning up our annamaya kosha, physical body. Then the pranayama technique. There are a lot of breathing techniques. We introduced some concept of Kapalbhati pranayama last time. So there are about 576 different kind of pranayama techniques that we can learn slowly and then take up 15-20 minutes every day to induce the pranayama technique so that we have pure oxygen. The oxygen goes to every cell of our body. We have 76 trillions of our cells in our body. So every cell is looking forward for some prana or the life force. And then the pranayama technique can be employed for heart coherence, for brain coherence. So all different organs need more different kinds of prana. We talked about pancha prana last time, how the 5 different kinds of prana gets created by combining different breathing exercises. Then we talk, then of course, like we can always think about dhyana or meditation to clean up our mind. Japa is a very good technique to clean up our intelligence. Like we talked about Gayatri Mantra Japa. If you know, Gayatri Mantra Japa is a very powerful technique to enhance our intelligence. There was a research in All Indian Institute of Medical Science recently that I was reading. Then they could do a control group, and then by chanting for 3 months Gayatri Mantra, few times every day, that improved significantly the memories, the intelligence of all the subjects will. So that's why all these mantras are very powerful tool to not only protect our mind, but to also improve the sharpness of our intelligence. And of course, like to cleanse our soul or our spiritual body, we need to employ all of this. We need to do physical asanas, pranayama techniques, meditation techniques, mindfulness techniques, japa, and also swadhyaya. There is another technique that we always talk about. Well, swadhyaya like this, what we're doing right now. It's a workshop that we're talking, we're sharing knowledge, we're sharing information with each other. So that will improve the intelligence because we are trying to get in new ways of thinking. So when we learn new ways of thinking, new perspective of thinking, automatically the mind also becomes more sharper. So intelligence and mind, they work together. So when we employ a certain willingness and certain techniques of yoga to improve our intelligence, of course, the mind, the body also improves. So we talked about one concept last time called Rutu Kala Mana Chakra. So Rutu means the seasons, Kala is the time, and Mana is all the different variables, such as our body type. We talked about Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, the Ayurvedic three dosas, different geographical locations, professions that we have undertaken, our working life, working style, our belief patterns, the epigenetics that we talked about. So all the different variables have to be considered when we prescribe someone a cleansing technique, or when we do our own research and finding out what cleansing techniques should I do for this year or for this season, for this time. Like, so during this COVID-19 pandemic time, there are different kind of cleansing techniques we are talking about because the situations are different. We're not going out, physical exercises are limited, we're not meeting with a lot of people, we're all staying in one place. So there are a lot of different types of cleansing requirements right now. That is why there are different terminologies called spring cleansing. So before the pollens come into the atmosphere, we should do some preventive practice where we can not be a victim of different flu seasons. So during the spring cleansing time, we focus more on the health of the lungs, take care of like how we can clean up the system so that it can have more coping strength. Aura cleansing is another technique that people use, often used in the energy healing techniques like Reiki, Pranasakti healing, Pranic healing. We have an oral body, a physical body. Then on top of that, the pranic body is also outside of our body. There is an inner aura, there is an outer aura. So the aura also needs to be cleaned up so that we have got a positive vibes. You might have experienced like somebody walks into the room. If there is a negative vibe, negative aura, you immediately feel some kind of repulsion. Ah, I don't want to deal with that person again, right? Or if somebody walks in, I feel like, oh man, such a wonderful feeling that I have got. What improved, right? So we also become like magnets. We also become like transformers, like thermostats. We change the ambience of the place that we go to. So if we clean up our aura with right thinking, with right action, with right words, then our aura becomes much more cleaner and also becomes bigger. Like you might have heard the story of Buddha. So when Buddha got awakened, it's a small story that I can talk about. So when he was passing by a forest, people warned him, like, hey, there is a big demon called Angushtimala. Like he is such notorious demon. Like he chops up the fingers of all the people that before he kills, and then he wears a garland every day, fresh garland every day of different people's fingers, and it's very dangerous. Please don't go through the forest. And Buddha, being Buddha, he said, like, really, I am not afraid about that person. Let me go through it. So when he walked into the forest, his aura was so powerful. It was just like luminous. The whole forest was almost glowing with that light. So there was an encounter with that demon. And then it's a very interesting story, actually. So the Buddha asked, like, hey, can you show me your power? Then immediately this demon got into a big tree, and then just by holding into a big branch of the tree got broken. And he said, like, look at how powerful I am. Then Buddha immediately asked him, like, now can you please put it back into the tree? It is very meaningful. So of course his aura had already created a good perspective about his power, and he realized that even though he's powerful, he can break things, but he doesn't have any power to build things together. Then he realized his mistake and became the best disciple of Lord Buddha. So that is about the power of our aura. So when you have an aura, you don't have to speak so much. the silence itself speaks for itself. So aura is very important. Chakra cleansing, another area of yoga area where we talk about different chakras, different energy centers in our body, which are located on our spinal column. There are 7 of those chakras. We briefly talked about the nadis, just like nerves, just like arteries, just like veins. We have got these pathways through which the prana flows into different parts of our body. And whenever there is a confluence of these nadis, we call it chakra, a confluence point. So there are 3 major nadis. One is a Ida nadi, which is talking to the parasympathetic nervous system. There is a Pingala nadi, which is connected to the parasympathetic nervous system. And there is a Susumna nadi, which is about the central nervous system. So whenever you do particular breathing technique like Anulom Vilom Pranayam, it balances those chakras and then gives rise to a state of equanimity or state of homeostatic condition in our mind. So that brings balance to our energy system, sun, moon energy, Shiva and Shakti we talked about briefly last time. So that is very important to cleanse your chakras. Each of the chakras are also connected to the 5 elements that we talked about, Pancha Mahabhut. So they are all connected. So since it's a introduction to the mindfulness course and introduction to the yoga course, so it's always a better idea to become aware of these terminologies. Although we may not be going too deep into everything, but we should know what is a chakra, what is a nadi, what is an aura. And of course, in a little bit deeper spirituality, when we travel, we go talk about karma cleansing. A lot of times we talk about something unwanted happens to our life, unfortunate things happens to our life. People say maybe it's past karma that we have to clean up right now. Not that karma is bad, but that's another way the universe or our soul wants to experience in this life. So certain hardship come into our life, certain challenges do come into our life. But if we take it in the right perspective, we don't have to think bad about the karma that we have got, but there's an opportunity to refine ourselves. So through the karma cleansing techniques, we refine our soul. As you all have agreed upon that cleansing also belongs to a soul's domain, not just the physical body or mind. So when we have the responsibility in this life, when we have this physical body, this life that we have, so during this living body, during this living mind, we also have to cleanse our karma through good work, through good deed, going back to the community, giving back. So all those things are karma cleansing. So I just talked about from spring cleansing to karma cleansing, something that is very solid that we can relate to from a physical body perspective, to our soul, something esoteric, something more sublime. So in the yogic tradition, just like in Ayurveda has got panchakarma, 5-fold karma techniques, yoga has called shat karma, or the 6-fold cleansing technique. In brief, they are called neti. Anybody who have got the neti experience? Like now we cleanse up the nasal passage through a particular vessel with a nozzle, and then we take the water from one nostril and take it out to the other nostril. That cleans up a small passage here, which is very powerful, that connects to a sinus, that connects to a brain. In fact, all these pollens that impact our life during the flu season can be taken care of netis. I think a couple of years ago, there are 5 million neti pots. One of the social entrepreneur, I think Neil Mehta, he made a beautiful device, neti pot. It is available in everywhere, in all the medical stores and everywhere. So that was profusely used by people all over to do the neti kriya. And nasal pumps are right now innovated. So cleanse up our nasal passage. Dhoti is another technique where people eat up a long piece of cloth and to clean up their esophagus, clean up their intestine on the upper part of the mucus that is there. So they eat it and then take it out slowly. So that cleanses the entire digestive system. Our digestive system is about 32 feet long, intertwined coil. And many times when we eat food, it gets putrefied inside those crevices, inside those, structure. So if we periodically do the cleansing technique like dhoti and basti and all these different techniques, that's very powerful to cleanse up the entire system. Most of the time, the colon cancer and all the different parts of the elementary canal, they get different problems. So through this repeated cleansing techniques, that can be prevented. Basti is another technique. There is another technique called kunjar, like you drink the water and then throw it out like an elephant. So that also cleanses the upper part of the system. There is another technique called vasti where you drink water and then do some movement, and then through the fecal movement, the whole intestine gets cleansed. So these are all different yogic techniques that mostly employed in ashrams. So when you go to a retreat for 1 week or 2 weeks, then they employ all these techniques. And at the end of the day, end of the week, you feel very fresh because the whole system gets rejuvenated by cleaning. Kapalbhati is another technique which we practiced last time. It's a wonderful technique of cleansing the residual carbon dioxide from our body. It also improves the brain function. That's called Kapala is the forehead and Bhati is the light. So even though you try to induce something in your stomach area by connecting the guts, the brain also gets clean. So that is another technique of Kapalbhati. Last technique is called Tratak. So Tratak is a wonderful technique to bring focus of the mind through the eyes, because eyes are the doorway to the mind. So when we learn how to clean up our eyes, our vision, the mind also becomes clean. So let's do a practice of Tratak today. So Tratak is a very simple practice. There are different versions of Tratak. Like for example, if you take a flower vase and then try to look at that for some time without blinking your eyes for about 2-3 minutes, so you get very focused on that. And sometimes when you focus on that, the flower vase that you're looking at will be disappearing. Like you won't see that. That's the focus. There is a Jyoti Tratak. That means you take a burning lamp and then you look at the flame for some time. That is also very powerful to improve the eyesight. You can also look at the sunrise time, just during the time when the sun rising happening, that crimson red color in the sky, just looking at those for 4-5 minutes early morning. That's a very powerful way of cleaning of the eyes. So the simple technique of Trata can be practiced. Like if you can bring your right hand to the front and then just look at the thumb, the tip of the thumb, without blinking the eyes or without turning your head or the neck, slowly start moving your right hand to the right side, rightmost side, and always keep looking at the thumb. And you can take it all the way to the farmost point of the right without losing the focus until a point that you can't see it anymore. And you slowly, gently bring it back. Good. Now slowly bring your hands down. Now, immediately after a Tratak, you do it 1 time or 5 times. It's always a good practice to rub the palms together and then keep your palms like 2 cups, completely covering your eyes, and feel the warmth and feel the darkness and see that your eyes are becoming more functional. Focus is building up. Nice. Now also you can do with the left hand, so for the left side. So keep your left hand thumb for your focus, and without blinking, without turning your head, slowly and gently try to move your left hand to your left side and always keep focused on the tip of the left thumb. You take it all the way to the back until you can't see it anymore. And then slowly, gently bring it back again while focusing on the thumb. And again, slowly bring it down. Again, take a moment to rub your thumbs together. And keep your palms on your eyes and feel the warmth. Good. Very slowly, gently open your eyes. So this is focusing the width, just like in camera, we have got a wide camera, we've got a focal camera. Something that zooms into the front and something also opens up in different angles. So likewise, you can increase the focal length of your eyes or calibrate it. So doing this technique, so keep your pointers in the front and keep looking at the front, at the tip of the pointer, and slowly, gently try to bring it very, very close to the middle of the eyes, middle of the 2 eyes, the third eye center, almost touching it, and slowly take it back. Good. Slowly, gently drop your hands down. Again, drop your palms. And keep your palms like 2 cups over your eyes and feel the warmth, feel the darkness, and feel the brightness of your eyes. Good. That's an example of Tratak. So you can repeat it many times, 5 times at least. And then different techniques can be done with the flower or with the light, with the faraway things, by looking at the green grass. You can always practice those to improve the eyesight. Now, also we talked about, how our Indian system, the mythology, the different things that we learn about the stories, they're also connected through Shravan. Like we talked Siddhanta Shravan last time, one of the yamas, one of the niyamas. So you have to listen to the stories and introspect them. Like, what does it mean? Because most of the stories are metaphorical in nature. So by introspecting about the stories that you have learned, that also clean up our mind. That also changes different perspective. So yesterday was a wonderful occasion. It was Ganesh Chaturthi, and we have already talked about Hanuman Chalisa. That everybody is involved in that. 100,000 people practice Hanuman Chalisa in the organization. It's very good. So we have already been tuned to different aspects of Lord Ganesha, who is also considered as the Lord of knowledge, Lord of removing the obstacles in our life. So there are a lot of symbolic stories that we all know about it. So through different introspection, different reflective knowledge, we can also clean up our mind and intelligence by building those metaphors in our life. So I'd like to invite all of you to practice a guided meditation on Lord Ganesha. Right? It will take about 10 minutes. And after that, we just open up for some Q&A and we should be doing good. Right? So let me stop sharing of this one. Anybody has any questions so far? I can take a small break. Anybody has a question about cleansing? The scope of the cleansing is very vast. I'm just talking about just the silent points. We're good so far? Okay, Anupama ji has got a question. You can unmute, please.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Manoj sir, it's not a question, but I just wanted to share my experience regarding the Neti and the Gajkarni. So I got rid of my sinuses, and I do the pranayam for ages now. And I used to teach yoga before I went back home, so it really helps with any migraines or sinuses. I mean, the Neti, like, it is amazing. I mean, I'm a practical example. Yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, and then it becomes so easy, like, just like we brush our teeth, it can become just like 2-3 minutes practice. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah, once a month I do the Gajkarni too, and it really helps the internal organs. Yeah.
Right. So very good. It's always good to listen to someone who has already practiced it. That's very good. Thank you, Anupama, for
sharing. Thank you,
Manoj.
I have one question. This is Sita.
Okay, where do I see you? Okay.
Murli Sita.
Right.
Of us here sitting here. So hi. Question is, there was out of the 5 cleansing, right? There was one thing called Nauli or something. You didn't talk about it. What is that about?
Oh, Nauli is about, it's a powerful technique of cleansing of the intestine, like through breathing technique. So what it does is, like, say, for example, if you stand up, and then let me just show it here. If you can see it, like, if I'm standing up by keeping the 2 feet a little bit out, and I put my knees on the knee, put my hands on the knees. So I have to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, like. So after you completely clean up your lungs, no air, then you suck your tummy in, so that, like, the belly button goes towards your spine, just like tying a knot.
Got it.
And then you hold that for some time, and then you move internally. The whole air, the empty space that you have, you move it clockwise few times and counterclockwise few times. This is totally churning of the intestine through without the breath. It's a very powerful breathing technique that cleanses the entire intestine. So once you do the Gajakarni and then Barisar Dhoti and all these techniques, people do Noli also. It's a very powerful technique. With empty stomach, if you do this, it really churns the intestine and all the different internal organs like spleen, liver, kidneys, all the things gets very, very powerfully benefit. No, that's another technique.
Yeah, it's part of the pranayama too, sir. Right. Out of the 8, the sequences, you can do that on an empty stomach in pranayama too. Yeah.
Totally. And all these techniques are very, very powerful techniques. Like we have got techniques like what is it called? The Agnisar Kriya. That's a very powerful technique. Just like you clean up your stove. So before we eat the food, we ignite the clean up our stove, like your stomach. Jataragni, they call it, the fire that burns the food, the fire that cooks the food inside. That's called Jataragni. So Jataragni can be awakened through different techniques of breathing. Good. Any other question? And then also the food plays, just like we last time we talked about where what we eat. So a lot of studies have been done right now. The fiber content of the food, the ratio between the carbohydrate and the fiber, that also plays a major role. Different kinds of food, different kind of fruits, they also have cleansing. Just like if you can think about certain food or certain fruits are like broomsticks, like they are kind of scavengers. Like if you have got high fiber content, it cleans up the whole system. The bowel movement happens properly, the urination happens properly, the sweating happens properly. So the internal organs that are responsible for cleansing, which called the Rechak Kriya, or the excretory organs like our liver, our lungs, and skin, all the bladder, the rectum, and all the different large intestine. So all these different organs that is placed in our body needs to be employed properly through right food, right amount of hydration factor, how much of water we should take, and those are all very important aspects of how we drink, how we eat, how much of chewing that does. So we have to really think in a holistic way of how to employ the whole body, mind, and spirit as a team to constantly clean the body, mind, and spirit. Right? It's a constant effort. It's a continuous effort because we focus more on eating. At least 10 times more focus has to be done on what we eat, how we eat, and how we can cleanse the whole system. Because without cleansing, a lot of diseases are happening right now because the food that we have consumed is very much adulterated, and then a lot of hormones are there, a lot of synthesis has happened. So those food are the main source of contaminating our body. So when we talk about the cleansing, of course, you have to find out what are the sources, why they are getting unclean. So that is one aspect. Other aspect is also like changing the perspective. Like we also think about the body cannot be clean at any given point of time totally, because every time, every moment, the body is secreting, like the fecal matter is getting created, the urine is getting created, the sweats are getting formed. So the body cannot be clean at all. But we also have to think about cleaning up our soul, because the soul cannot be dirty also. So at some point of time, you have to think of the balance. How much of balance do I need to clean up physically and also clean up my spiritual aspect? So if you learn the different aspect of cleansing and different scope, just like when you do a scoping mechanism, when we take up a work, how much should I employ? So become a little bit more realistic on how much of cleaning we can do and how we can set up some process in situ itself, like taking the right food, taking time to chew the food. So all those things, like reduction at source, like just like tax reduction at source happens. Similarly, the cleansing also can happen as a part of the process. So by employing new techniques or adapting right methods for our body based on the Rutu, Kala, and Mana, depending on our belief, depending on our different variables, if you employ certain cleansing techniques and make it a part of the life, then we don't have to do extra cleansing. It's already becoming like flossing, say, for example. Every night, if you floss, of course, the teeth will not collect a lot of plaques, right? You prevent gum bleeding. So similarly, if you do everyday yoga nidra, before you go to sleep, yoga nidra is a profound technique of cleaning up our mind. All the stress that you've accumulated by different transactions that you have encountered throughout the day with different people in different places, with different events. So all those negative thoughts, negative vibrations have been accumulated in our system. So if you do a proper pratyahara or cleansing through yoga nidra, and then you go to sleep, then the sleep becomes very perfect. And you wake up with a lot of freshness. And sleep is a very powerful tool of cleansing our entire system. If you're not getting proper sleep, proper relaxation, that is also we have to improve. And in our next session, of course, we'll talk about more about the relaxation techniques, more about the yoga nidra techniques. But right now, as a part of the cleansing tool also can be used yoga nidra. So let's get ready for 10 minutes of meditation, and then again we'll have a small window to ask any question if you have. So friends, please sit down comfortably and let's keep our eyes gently closed as we prepare for spending some time to meditate on Lord Ganesha today. Let me recite two of the powerful mantras. Gajananam bhutaganaadisevitam kapitya jambupala charubhakshanam umasutam shokavinasakarakam namami vigneswara padapankajam. I bow to lotus feet, elephant-headed Lord Ganesha, son of goddess Uma or Parvati, who is served by the Bhutaganas, all beings, who eats the sweet Jambuphala, and who is the remover of all sorrows and obstacles. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayat Sarva Vigno Pashantaye. I meditate upon Lord Ganesha, who wears a white garment, has a bright complexion, has 4 arms, and has an ever-smiling face for removal of all obstacles. So friends, let's continue to spend a few more moments in meditation, in appreciation of all the beautiful qualities of Lord Ganesha. Keeping the eyes still closed, try to visualize the form of Lord Ganesha. The elephant head represents mindfulness. And let's pray Lord Ganesha to bless us with the right knowledge and right wisdom. Now let's meditate on these big ears of Lord Ganesha. Visualize those 2 big ears, which represents listening carefully, paying attention to everything. Now let's meditate on the eyes of Lord Ganesha, which represents the sharpness of our vision, understanding deeper implications of everything that we visualize. We see different aspects of things. We try to see things which is close to us, right here and now. And also we try to see things which are in the future. We see things with the eyes of wisdom. Let's pray to Lord Ganesha to give us such sharp vision, to be outstanding in every aspect of our life, with clarity, with confidence, and with creativity. Let us pray and meditate in how we can remove all those obstacles in our life with the true knowledge Think about your personal goal and let's seek blessings from Lord Ganesha today to help us to fulfill all our dreams in our life. Let's take 11 mindful breaths together to bring more blessings into our individual life and to our collective life, to remove the obstacles from the world which is there right now in the form of COVID-19 pandemic. Let's pray to Lord Ganesha to bring us the wisdom to lead a meaningful life, to be respectful for others, to be always having the right knowledge and wisdom, to have confidence, power of mind, and most importantly, being careful not to hurt others' feelings and always speak the truth in a polite manner, in a calm and peaceful and soothing manner that will inspire others, that will motivate others, that will find meanings in everyone's life. May Lord Ganesha bless all of us, and we offer our deepest respect and devotion to this Vighna Vinashaka, Lord Ganesha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Now slowly you may open your eyes. Thank you for spending time in meditating on Lord Ganesha on this auspicious day of Ganesh Puja. Namaste. So good. So we just had a small meditation. So meditation is also a wonderful technique of cleansing our mind, body, and soul. That's why we do prayer. So when we pray for ourselves, when we pray for all others, people around us, so we automatically clean up our heart, right? So we don't have those negative grudges with us. We always try to be lighter by forgiving, by different aspects of yoga, by following different principles of yoga. We can constantly be on the path of cleansing ourselves. So with that, the main talk is over. So let me know, like, if you have any questions. We've got 3-4 minutes left, maybe 5 minutes. Yeah.
This is Sita again. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that meditation. It was really good. It almost put me in a trance, but so thank you for that. But should I be worrying about my breath?
Well, I mean, you don't have to worry about your breath, but you have to be inspired by your breath. Because, like, breath is always happening. That's the first thing we learn when we come to this planet. And one day we'll all take our last breath. So this whole life is a series of breath, from the first breath to the last breath. So it'll be always, that's called inspiration. So breath is designed by the universe, by the nature, to inspire us every moment. So, but why do you ask to be worried about your breath?
Do I need to be saying, okay, I need to be regimenting my breathing while I'm doing my meditation?
Well, you don't have to, because automatically it builds up. Like when you focus on your mind, or a particular thought, or a particular music, or a sound. So whenever the mind gets focused, the breath also becomes very tuned, very slow. Like say, for example, if you are angry, if you're stressed out, the breath becomes very shallow, and then a lot of breath you take, like 30, 40 counts per minute. But the moment you come to a prayerful mood, the moment you start meditating on something, the moment you start becoming aware of your breath, automatically the breath count slows down. So it's already inbuilt. They're all connected to each other. So the mind influences the breath, and the breath also influences our mind and mood. So initially, like, you may be aware of your breath, but if you become aware of your sound or the mantra, so slowly, the breath automatically adjusts itself to the right moment. That is the power of our autonomous system. Whenever we have that autonomous system inbuilt, that knows exactly what our intent is, what we're doing it, right? So whenever you're in a heated mood, the autonomous system sweats us out. Whenever you're in a cool room, it automatically conserves the energy. So likewise, depending on your mind, depending on our activities that we indulge, the autonomic system also builds in our breathing pattern.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So I have a question. This is Sheetal. So similar to Sita, you said let's do 11 breaths.
Right.
So now I'm, in that mode where I'm listening, I'm relaxed, and then all of a sudden I get, oh, I have to count 11 breaths. So now I get into this, okay, I'm counting in, holding, out, in, and then I get distracted because of that. Right. So I understand what she's saying about how concerned are we about this, breathing.
It's very interesting to discuss about this one. For example, like when you came to first time into this country, you had your driver's license. When you drove for the first week, like how much were we focusing on, oh my God, this is, brake pedal, this is gas pedal. And then suddenly it becomes so panicking about, like, whether you take a left turn or right turn, right? So after you drove for a few years in this country, a few months in this country, then everything becomes automatic, right? You listen to the music, you take an apple on your hand and then talk to your friends. So many things we do. So likewise, when you start meditation, automatically all these thoughts will come. Don't get bothered about that. Automatically, you should keep doing. Slowly, the whole thing will become so much like interesting that you will automatically discover what is the right way to breathe. Initially, it will all happen. Don't worry about it. That's a journey that you have to enjoy, not to get worried about, not to get stressed about. Let it happen. So as you practice more and more, automatically you'll get it more benefit of this one. So keep doing it. So in the beginning, it will happen all the time, but slowly, the body, mind, and you'll automatically be guided. So the main important thing is consistency in our practice. So if you adopt a simple 5 minutes every day in a particular time, in a particular place in your house, if you constantly do meditation, simple meditation, like think about your heart, think about an Om symbol, and just focus in your breath. Or just chant an Om for time, sometimes louder, sometimes slowly in your mind, and sometimes just think about the Om. That is the seat of our soul in the heart. So when you bring your mind and heart together and bind that with an Om, that is the ultimate meditation. You can just do it for 5 minutes. Then slowly you'll get more encouraged to do it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You'll say within 1 year time, you'll be a meditator. Right.
Manoj, thank you very much, sir. This is our 5th session. We have 3 more sessions. Please, everybody, from next week on, we will go back to our Saturday time as usual. So I will send another reminder either Friday or Saturday early morning. So please, keep that in mind. These 2 weeks were, an exception to the Saturday's classes. So next 3 weeks, we are back to Saturdays again, and it's wonderful. It's priceless sessions, Manoj. Thank you very much. And everybody keep practicing. We will upload all these videos. Please, as I said earlier, go to YouTube channel, Rotary Club of Silicon Andhra, and subscribe to that, please. So that way there's more people who can take advantage of this. we are not asking you for anything. Practice so that way you get better, and share this information so that way you care for people who are around you. So that is just the thought of this today. And Manoj ji, I know, is helping so many people in whichever way he can to make them better. You know, the total healthy, you know, the concept of total health, you know, that is the key. So, you know, be happy, be healthy. Namaskaram.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manoj ji.
Thank you, Manoj ji.